Hi everybody, Jake here for FMSCOUT. Today I'll be giving you some overpowered players that you can try out in FM23. I'll explain exactly why I consider them to be overpowered in the in-game engine, and don't worry, most of these players you either won't have heard of or definitely haven't signed before. We're not going for your Haalands, your Mbappes, your De Bruynes, who everyone knows are great players. No, today we're trying to find some gem players really for you guys to try out. They're all playing for different levels of clubs, different price points, and have different reasons for being OP. But before we get into it all, if you do enjoy this video or get some use out of it, then please go ahead and smash that like button for us. It's free to do and it really helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already as well, as we get close to 160,000 subscribers, and let us know down below the most overpowered player you've used so far in FM23. Okay, we're getting started with our first player, and I'll lay out a few of the disclaimers now and the reasonings behind the players that we're going to look at today. Firstly, star ratings, don't judge them. We're Manchester City in this save, and all of these players are being compared to Haaland and De Bruyne. And yes, you might think we've done a few videos like this before. In all of those, we were usually focusing in on the hidden attributes that a player has. I'll show you here. For example, consistency, important matches, and injury proneness. Now, I have considered those hidden attributes for all of these players to make sure they at least have a decent level of them, but instead in today's video, we'll be focusing on the guys that have really good physical attributes, whether it's someone that's super pacey, super strong, or super good in the air, or maybe even for some players a combination of all three, because it seems this year if you do have those pacey players, those strong players, they seem to do way better than players that are technically gifted or mentally gifted. Obviously there's plenty of players we could have put into this list, but I've tried to find some interesting ones, some different options for you in your saves, all of which I don't think any of them are super well known. There's a couple that are already very good players, but the player we're looking at first is Joseph Adu. He is a centre-back from Ghana with international experience who plays for Celta Vigo out in the Spanish First Division. Now, he joined them a few years back for 7 million from Genk, and he's been a regular starter since, being a very good player for them. In this save, you can see Brentford want him, and there's a good reason why. His transfer valuation isn't massively excessive, but on top of that, it's those physical attributes that are going to make him so powerful in game. Yes, he's actually a good tackler, good in the air, good marking ability, and will be a very good central defender otherwise, but then you count in the fact that he's very quick for a centre-back with 14 acceleration and 15 agility, but he's got that strength as well. So whilst he does hold that pace, he's also really strong, and his jumping reach, whilst isn't amazing, it doesn't let him down too much, and he would be a very capable centre-back option. He can outstrength the toughest of players and keep up with even the quickest, so I think he'd be a great centre-back to use. He's already good enough for a top 5 division team, and you can see a team like Brentford, mid-table in the Premier League, would be more than happy to have him, so he's definitely worth taking a look at. And we've got 3 centre-backs to make up our team, and one of them is this man, Isaac Hine, a 23-year-old Swedish national who plays for Verona out in the Italian divisions. Now, he is a very interesting player. One, because he's super cheap at only £2 million or so. Now, he's only just joined Verona from the Swedish division, so he's definitely worth scouting, keeping an eye on, and then maybe making a move for in a season or so's time, but he's got a lot of room to grow still. He's currently sitting at about 125 current ability, and he can go on to reach a potential of just under 140, so he could be a Premier League level centre-back at full growth, and either way he's going to play out of his skin, because that strength and that jumping reach combined with a 6'3" height is going to mean he wins loads of headers. He's also pretty good when it comes to actually heading the football with 14 for heading. He's also pacey like the last centre-back that we looked at. He's not lacking in any real area, and he'd be a great centre-back for your sides. Now, his vision is quite low, but he does like to bring the ball out of defence with not great dribbling, so maybe you'd want to get rid of that player trait, but otherwise he would be a dominant centre-back able to play at a very high level, maybe not Champions League level, but certainly a Europa League, Europa Conference League level centre-back. Isaac Hine could be someone worth scouting. Now, it's these kind of players where across the course of a save, providing the AI manager isn't putting them in a horrible tactical setup, they'll nearly always be doing quite well, particularly if you get your hands on these players and you're able to use their strengths to the best of their abilities. For example, if you know you've got someone strong and good in the air, you can try and feed headers towards them. And with a lot of these overpowered players, you are going to see consistently high average match ratings from them. But our third defender we're looking at is David Carmo, a Portuguese 22-year-old who plays for Porto, and he's only recently signed from Braga for 17.25 million. So he's another one that you're going to have to scout, wait a little bit of time for, but you could see why Porto have gone for him. A left-footed centre-back who's a great great ball playing defender, also good in the air, an excellent jumping reach, 6'5", and strength. Now he's much slower than most of the people we've looked at, particularly when it comes to getting off to speed with his acceleration, but once he starts running, he's as quick as anyone else really with 14 pace. But he's a good level centre-back, more of a ball player than some of the others, but also a little bit more expensive, and that's going to come with the fact that he's technically gifted and also younger than some. Obviously he's playing for a great club already in Porto, but if he did come to the Premier League and we use that as our base of judge in terms of a player's level, I do think he could be a top 4, top 6 level centre-back playing for a very big side once he's developed a little bit. One of our more well-known players and someone that I very rarely see have a bad game is Manuel Lazari. Now I came across him 2 years ago or so when I was doing a Lazio save. I wasn't too clued up on every single player in their squad, but he instantly stood out to me as the kind of player that would dominate in game, and he went on to do exactly that. And yes, he's great technically going forward, can defend well and has really good mental attributes, but he's as quick as pretty much any winger that you're going to get, and he uses that to drive to the byline and put in some excellent balls, consistently performing well. I tend to find with a lot of fullbacks, if you can get someone that's really quick, they're likely going to get good average match ratings and play well for your team. On my personal channel, which you can find linked in the description, we have an Aberdeen save going on, and over there we had a right back who had pretty much no technical ability, but he was super quick, he played well, and after a couple of years of playing well, he got a big move to a club where realistically I don't think he was good enough for, but they paid over the odds for him because he was performing so well, and that was purely because of the pace that he had at the back. Near enough every game we'd see him run past everyone and cross the ball in, so it's definitely great to have those quick defenders. Obviously you want that backed up with technical ability and mental ability too, but Manuel Lazari, one of the better players in this list, is certainly one that could play for any club in the world in my opinion at right back. And just to mention, if you do want to check out my channel and the Aberdeen save, you can find it linked in the description below. Any support over there is massively appreciated, and there is one player in this video that does come from our Aberdeen team. Next we're going to take a look at Galeno. He is a Brazilian 24-year-old, again coming from Porto, brilliant technical ability, can play on both wings and also has strong mental attributes with a lot of very handy traits as well for a wide player, but it's those physical attributes that make him so dangerous in the in-game engine. 18 acceleration, 18 pace, 16 agility. He is as quick as they come really. He's going to cause any defender a nightmare unless the opposition back off a little bit, because with that acceleration he's going to burst past people and cut in from either flank, wherever you choose to play him. But I think as an inverted winger or an inside forward on the left hand side would be where I play him, with that strong right foot. I don't know how he plays in real life, but it looks like Porto signed him from Braga about a year or so ago, and he got 12 appearances, 1 goal, which isn't crazy. But when it comes to FM, when you have a player that quick, they're going to be deadly in the in-game engine at any level really. I'm sure there's better options out there when it comes to Wonderkids and bargain players, but purely looking at someone who's going to consistently give defenders a torrid time, Galeno might be the man for that. But if you want a younger player with potential who might be able to do a similar job, then look no further than Almeria, a club in the first division of Spain. Now they have a young Belgian player on their books by the name of Largi Ramazani. Now he joined them a few years ago on a free deal from Manchester United, and he's got a lot of first team football considering he is still only 21, and that's helped him a lot in his development. But yes, he's good technically and mentally. There are some weaknesses in his game, but he's not awful by any stretch. With that acceleration and pace, defenders are going to hate playing against him. He also has a decent bit of potential as well, but either way you can see here he's got 20 odd current ability points to make up, and he's going to be an incredible player once he develops. Easily going to be part of the Belgian national setup in most of your saves. Definitely worth a go. A quick winger with good flair and dribbling ability. He can finish really well, and he'd be a perfect inside forward on that left hand side, and he's also really good on his left foot. As far as young inside forwards go, he might be one of the best out there. If you're looking for a cheaper option though that could have a similar effect, then maybe give Bernard Tekpeti a go. He can be picked up for a couple of million from Ludogorets out in Bulgaria, where he's done exceptionally well, 10 goals in 24 appearances for them. You could maybe use him as an inside forward on that left hand side, but he's not quite natural there, so he will need some training. If you used him in his natural position, then ideally he wants to play as an out and out winger on that right foot, but then maybe his crossing isn't great, so I would suggest training him as an inside forward on the left. That pace, the acceleration, and something that we haven't seen as much yet, the agility and balance, is really going to help him. Again, another one that's going to be a regular threat to defences in your saves if you do pick him up. His technicals, yes, are weaker than some of the other players, but they're certainly not terrible. His mentals do need some work, mind you. Whilst I do prefer someone younger like Ramzani as an option who has way more potential, Tech Petty here could be someone for the lower level teams, still probably a top 5 European League level player, but maybe not in the top half of those teams, maybe a Premier League relegation level player, but still very talented and one that could get a lot of goals and a great return for your side. A player that I've been calling overpowered for years, a bargain player, whatever you want to call him, he's in so many of my lists. I absolutely love this man, and I've signed him in pretty much every rebuild I've ever done on my own channel. It's Kirill Despodov, who also plays for Ludogorets out in Bulgaria. He's a Bulgarian himself with plenty of years left in the tank just yet. You can pick him up for a few £1,000,000 and his contract is expiring in only a couple of years. He's brilliant mentally, brilliant technically as well. With no real flaw in his game, he can pass, he can shoot, he can dribble, he can cross, and he's good on a set piece also. Add on to that the physical attributes that make him dangerous in game. Maybe not as exceptionally quick as some of the other players or exceptionally strong, but combine those strong physicals with the technicals and mentals. He's someone that will get amazing average match ratings, consistently play well for you, and another one for me where I think he could play for a top 6 club in the Premier League, not as a starter mind you, but definitely as a squad depth player, but for a team lower down in the Prem, easily a good player, maybe even an important or star player for them. 2 players left now, and this one is my favourite in the list. I spoke earlier that there'd be an Aberdeen player, and it is this man here, Duke. Now, a lot of the guys that we've looked at, I haven't had hands-on experience with. I've just done the research, looked at the attributes that you can see, the hidden attributes also, using the editor to find players that I think will do amazing in the in-game engine. But Duke here is one that I've had personal experience with, and that was before he got his upgrade in the winter update that FM had. I'm still playing on a save before that, but he was basically quick and strong with no technical ability, yet he still scored for fun. I can only imagine now how good he's going to be in the Scottish divisions when he has got that increase to his technicals, where now he has 15 dribbling, 12 finishing, 12 first touch. That might not seem crazy on paper to you, but I'm telling you, this guy is so good. I don't know what it is. I think it's the combination of pace and strength. Also, the player traits he has, moves into channels, seems to be a very effective one for a quick player, because if you've got the right kind of passers, they'll play the ball over the top, he'll run into that channel and just outpace a defence. Like I mentioned earlier, you don't need the most technical players in the world if they have these really strong physicals. Obviously, it's great to have, but when you're this quick, it's very hard for any defender to deal with, and that's been shown with Duke, who scored 20-30 goals a season for us for 3 or 4 years, and he's even the top goal scorer in the Champions League in my save for our Aberdeen team, which goes to show just how good he is. His national team is Cape Verde, where he's got 1 international appearance so far, and in real life he's been tearing it up for Aberdeen also, having signed from Benfica for a pretty nominal fee to be honest, and he's apparently wanted by Burnley in real life too, who are going up to the Premier League. They want him to be their striker in their team, so it goes to show the talent that he has. He's only 22 as well, so he's got a lot of room to get better. One of my favourites, and if you don't believe me, check out one of the videos in the Aberdeen series on my channel, and I don't know which one you'll pick, and I guarantee you somewhere you'll be watching Duke score a goal, because he seems to score all the time. And our final player is a real physical beast, and I'm not just saying that with him. Is he quick? Is he good in the air? Is he strong? No. He's all 3, and he's 6'4". His name is Beto, and he is the current striker for Udinese, who have signed him for a pretty decent fee of 6 million. You'll see he's worth way more than that currently. He's got a while left on his deal, so you're going to have to scout him and wait for your chance to sign him. But if you do, you are getting a brilliant forward. You can see it's even suggesting you could play him as a complete forward. He's got that much ability. The physicals obviously are incredible, but also he can finish really well, he can head the ball great, he can pass, he can dribble, and he's got strong mental attributes also. There's not too much wrong with him at all. He even likes to attempt overhead kicks, he likes to knock the ball past the opponent as well, according to his player traits, which will really benefit from that quick acceleration and pace that he has. He's going to be a defender's nightmare. If you're up against a quick defender, he's going to beat them in the air. If you're up against a strong defender, he's just going to outpace them. He is going to be an incredible player in your saves. I can almost guarantee it. I've came up against him and he scored a few times against me, but I haven't used him myself yet. If anyone's had any experience with him, do let me know. But he looks like a phenomenal player, and he completes our team of overpowered players in FM23. Today we were focusing more on those physical attributes, but there are a few more videos like this. Just search FMSCOUT overpowered players and you'll see a few others where we look at some players that you might not have thought of buying that could be really good in game. Let me know in the comments who your favourite overpowered player is in FM23. Like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you and goodbye.